Dímelo, mi gente, travel football fan here. On today's episode, we're going to discuss the ticket buying process for the 2022 Qatar World Cup because even for us Americans that are only looking to go to a game here in the United States for the 2026 World Cup, you're going to need a passport to purchase tickets for those games. Now, for many fans here in the United States, it seems rather odd that FIFA would require a passport, and not just a US passport, a passport of the citizenship of your home country to purchase tickets for the World Cup because that's not the ticket buying experience here in the United States. For those of you that attended matches during Copa America, you weren't asked to provide your driver's license. That is usually the main form of ID here in the US to purchase tickets on these third party platforms. And yes, it's true. Not every American has a passport in hand. Even though numbers for applications have been increasing since the end of the COVID pandemic, it's still at about 40% of Americans that actually have one. So let's dive into this FAQ and see why FIFA will probably ask us for a passport when we're purchasing these tickets. All right, so let's review the FAQ page here for the general ticketing information, okay? And so we're gonna probably go through most of these questions, not really go in depth one by one. Some of them might not make sense for us yet for 2026, but we'll definitely address those that might make sense for us as well. So, for example, when will tickets go on sale for the 2022 World Cup? Well, that's not necessary for us. I did make a prediction video on my YouTube page as well about when I think tickets for the 2026 World Cup will come out on sale. So do check that out when you get a chance. Now, this question here, number 2, might be important for us in order for us to start understanding just exactly how this ticket buying process will work. What official sales outlets have been established by FIFA for sale of tickets? Basically, it's FIFA. FIFA will 100% sell their tickets. There were maybe some rumors there that FIFA might sell out and use the third-party ticket brokers here in the United States, like Ticketmaster, to sell tickets for the World Cup. But it doesn't make sense because then FIFA will be sharing the profits that they do make from the ticket sales from the World Cup with another company. Why do that when you can keep 100% of your profits? And as what we saw with Copa America, the idea was max out the price of the tickets as possible and yes, make a lot of money. But you saw for many of these games, half empty stadiums. FIFA does not want that. They really want these stadiums to be packed. So they rather lower the price, keep control of the sale of the tickets, and ensure that all of these stadiums are as sold out as possible. Okay. There will be a last minute sales phase window, which I think we'll get into the sales phase windows a little bit afterwards. But I don't see how there could be one central place for tickets to be purchased at the last minute because of the geographical distance we're dealing with this World Cup. So we'll have to TBD on that point. Where else can I get tickets for the World Cup, and how do I know if it's a legitimate sales channel? FIFA is basically saying it's through us, nobody else. Do not purchase tickets via unauthorized sales channels. The only authorized one is FIFA.com/tickets. That is why they're asking us to register our interest for these tickets by creating your FIFA ID account. Uh, yeah, Ticketmaster, StubHub, all these other third party platforms that we saw selling tickets for the Copa America. Nope, they are not involved in this ticket buying process. And please, I know some of you have messaged me, both through DMs and posting on my content. Oh, I was able to get tickets to these other sites. Like, don't out yourself, first of all. I don't want to be a narc in that respect. But also, okay, cool, you were able to do that. But FIFA reserves the right, as they say here, to deny you entry. Okay, these tickets purchased through these other sources are subject to cancellation at any time without notice. You could be saying, "Oh, well, that's just a corporate scare tactics that they do in order to not buy through other sources." But FIFA will, hopefully keeping with what they've done in the past, cap the price of the tickets, not make them super expensive for the majority of the fans attending the tournament. So if you're buying them through these third party channels, they're more than likely going to fleece you by charging you double or potentially triple the price of those tickets. So there really isn't a reason for you to go through these third party channels. Okay. You're only spending more money increasing the likelihood that these tickets are a scam, and increasing the likelihood that FIFA might prevent you entry to that game. So if you don't find a ticket to the game that you really want to go to, Familia, purchase it through the FIFA resale market, which I believe there's going to be a question about that later on. But don't trust these other sales channels. Okay, FIFA.com/tickets is your main one. All right. Another key question here is, do I only need a ticket to enter the stadium on match day? In Qatar's case, we needed was a Haya card. Okay. This is what granted us access to the stadiums along with the ticket that would be on your app on your phone. Okay. It would have provided entry to the state of Qatar because, that was basically our visa to enter the country. And it also did provide free travel on public transport during the tournament. Now, several things about this Haya card. For one, because we're playing in 3 different countries, we do not know if there's going to be a Haya card similar thing happening here. FIFA has been lobbying the U.S. Congress to, if not allow for visa-free travel, to expedite the processing of the visas for fans, especially many of those from the global South, because it takes too long to get a tourist visa. And by too long, I mean like 600 plus days. That's over 2 years almost, right? And what you want to make sure is that, at least in FIFA's case, those fans can come here to either the US, Canada, or Mexico. Of course, another key thing here about the free public transit, no, that's probably not going to happen. You're going to have to pay for public transit in these cities throughout the World Cup. Many of them did try to provide that free public transit option for fans, but local residents would have been taxed even more to pay for that. And so, understandably so, local residents, I should say, were not happy with that. And so, thus, those ideas and plans have since been nixed. Now, here is where we get to the gist of my prediction of us more than likely needing a passport to purchase tickets for the World Cup. Okay. The thing is this: in order to apply for this Haya card, we either needed to provide a Qatar ID number, basically a national ID number for Qatari citizens, or our passport for the rest of us international fans. Okay. The thing here is this: in the United States, we do not have a national ID except this one. Okay. Many of you might say, well, what about my driver's license? Yes, it's a state ID. Now, FIFA could, for the sake of simplicity, take on the additional work of accepting driver's licenses as the main form of ID that fans will have to type in to purchase the ticket. Okay. That is totally a possibility. And FIFA would have to take on the additional work of, you know, getting this list down together. Now, you might be saying, why does FIFA need to know this information? It's in order to prevent hooligans from attending these matches. That's the first thing that they're thinking about. Okay. They work with other governments around the world, notably England and Argentina. And you can check this on a Google search to prevent hooligans from those countries going to World Cup matches because they want to prevent these people from creating a bad environment for the rest of the fans. And especially in Qatar's case, that was definitely true. Let's also add the wrinkle that there will be alcohol allowed in all 3 countries for the 2026 World Cup. So you want to prevent hooligans from coming here, especially because there's access to alcohol. It's not really a good mix. So it is this main point here, okay, of this Qatar ID number that I think, okay, what is the national ID number for the United States? A passport. For Canada, it might be something similar. I'm not familiar with, in Canada's case, what's their ID number. I believe in Mexico, at least in Colombia, they have this thing called a cedula. I don't know if Mexico has something similar to that. It could be the case, okay? But basically, FIFA is requiring a national ID number. The passport gives them that information. Finally, can you buy tickets at the stadium? No, that was not the case in Qatar. More than likely, that's going to be the case as well for 2026. You have to purchase the tickets online, or if they do set up these ticketing centers, I would assume in all of the cities for the 2026 World Cup, you would have to buy them there as well. All right, now let's review the ticket application process that was used in 2022. That way we can see what we can learn from it and what we can potentially expect for 2026. First question here, how do I apply for tickets? Okay, well, we're going to be going through the FIFA.com/tickets website. To apply for tickets, you must create your own FIFA ticketing account with complete and accurate information. That is why, if you haven't done so, go ahead and create your FIFA ID account. That way you just get that out the way. Depending on the sales phase, you can apply to enter a random selection draw process to see if you're one of the successful ticket applicants to obtain tickets. FIFA Ticketing has contacted all successful ticket applicants with information on how to pay for those tickets. Okay. Direct purchases are possible during the first come, first serve and last minute sales periods by accessing the FIFA ticketing portal, again, available through the website FIFA.com/tickets. Okay. So, what this is basically saying is there's an application process where you apply for a certain number of tickets. We'll get to those questions in a minute. And then there is a first come, first serve purchase window, which is the one I did, if I remember correctly, from 2022, which I purchased then what ended up being the France Tunisia game, and then I ended up selling those to get the Brazil South Korea game. So that is pretty much the two windows that you have to familiarize yourselves with. Okay. Next question here. How old do I have to be to purchase tickets? You must be 18 years of age or older to apply for tickets. Number 3, can I purchase tickets on behalf of a third person at the FIFA main ticketing center at the ticketing center in Qatar? So again, this is if for the World Cup in 2026 they have these ticketing centers at the physical locations. It basically, no, it is not possible to purchase non-accessibility tickets on behalf of a third person at these places. You can if you are purchasing an accessibility ticket for a person that is basically ADA compliant. They'll be able to tell if you're basically trying to cheat the system. Okay. Now, what happens to my ticket application after its submission? So during the random selection draw sales periods, fans could apply for tickets at any time. It makes no difference when the application was submitted, as long as it is submitted prior to the end of the respective random draw sales period, which I will keep you in touch. So make sure you're following me on TikTok and or Instagram. That is where I'm publishing those like rapid response, breaking news type of videos. The YouTube channel here, of course, is for more in-depth analysis of these types of questions. If demand for a given match or ticket category has exceeded the available ticket inventory, a random selection draw takes place at the end of the random selection draw sales period to determine which applicants were allocated tickets. So basically, luck of the draw, unless you, of course, a politician or two that can maybe invite you to that suite, and that's how you can get those tickets. All right. All successful, partially, and unsuccessful ticket applicants will be notified by email. However, please note that it is the responsibility of the ticket applicants to check the details and the status of their application by accessing their FIFA ticketing account. Okay, these were the dates of the random selection draw. Okay, not really important for our purposes here. Again, I did take out the YouTube video indicating when I predict tickets will begin to go on sale, that is most likely going to be the random selection draw period, okay? Which, for many of you that are looking to follow a team, might not be the most useful window to purchase tickets because you won't know if A, your teams are even qualified for the World Cup, but then B, where are they going to play? That's only going to happen until the draw in probably December 2025. So this random selection draw period, though, could be more helpful for fans that are A, going to go for like the knockout games and they don't care which teams are going to be there, or for B, if you're willing to, pretty much say, no, you know what, screw it, I'm going to support Mexico all the way through and through, Colombia all the way through and through, France, whatever it may be, then you apply. I'm going to apply for all tickets for my team, and then you go from there. You won't have to pay for anything at that moment. You apply, and then you basically are crossing your fingers to wait and see if you are selected for those tickets. Okay. And so again, more dates here as to how this process works. So maybe we did this one over here. So during the first come, first serve sales periods in sales phases 1 and 2 and the last minute sales phases, ticket applicants may submit their ticket application at any time throughout the respective first come, first serve and last minute sales periods, with preference given in respect to the date and time of the submission. So earlier submissions will be given preference. So even though you can submit your application anytime, the early bird gets the worm, so apply as early as possible, okay? All right, now let's move on to question number 5. How can you check the status of your ticket application? Go to the FIFA website. That specific links and information will be given to us eventually, probably by next year. All right. So, next question here: is it possible to cancel or change your ticket application? So, during the random selection draw sales periods, the ticket applicant could change or cancel an application up until the closing date of the applicable sales period. You'll have to log in and either delete the application or edit it. Please note, though, that after the closing date of a random selection draw sales period, you cannot cancel or change a ticket. So, make sure that when you do submit that ticket application, you know that those are the tickets you're going for, right? If you're looking to make changes to it, make sure you make those changes before the deadlines. Please note that all ticket sales are final and you cannot cancel, purchase, or return any tickets to FIFA. You can resell them in the resale market. In 2022, they had that resale market available for fans, but you can't just tell FIFA, hey, here's the tickets back. That's not how it works. Okay. During the first come, first serve sales period and the last minute sales phases, ticket purchases are processed as a real time transaction. And so, meaning that available tickets will be allocated directly to the ticket applicants, and all successfully purchased tickets will be confirmed immediately to the ticket applicants. All right. If there's anything wrong with the application, if it's inaccurate, late, or incomplete, FIFA will pretty much terminate that application, it looks like. So just make sure you have all your information in place. The colors, now, I don't know if this is going to be repeated for the 2026 World Cup, but basically, each of these matches had a green, what is it? Green, orange, and red. And so green meaning that there are plenty of tickets available. Orange means that there's now a limited number of tickets available. And then thus the red, meaning that you're probably not going to find anything for that match. Okay. So that's what those, colors usually mean. Okay. And the colors and explanations are not by means a guarantee. You might still be able to find one ticket maybe in for a match that might be color coded as red, but chances of that are extremely low. Okay, now this is kind of a big question for a lot of people because, the way I've explained it is that technically it is a one ticket per passport, or person, I should say, per match, right? But of course, many of you are parents. You're looking to purchase tickets for your kids. So, what is the maximum number of tickets that you can purchase for Qatar? You may purchase up to 6 tickets per match for a maximum of 60 tickets across the entire tournament. Of course, in 2026, this tournament is growing from 32 to 48 teams. Okay? So we don't know exactly the number of tickets that we are going to be able to purchase as the maximum. We don't have that information yet. Okay? However, there's also a household restriction of 6 tickets per match. This means that if more than one person purchases tickets from the same postal address indicated on their ticket applications, together they can only purchase 6 tickets. So let's say you and your cousin Filipao want to purchase tickets for the World Cup, but you both live under the same roof. Y'all cannot purchase more than 6 tickets together for the same match. Now, in Qatar, during the sales phase windows, there were certain games that you were not able to buy because they happened on the same day. During the first sales phase, which was before the final draw, you couldn't apply for ticket products that included matches scheduled on the same day. After the final draw, from sales phase 2, ticket applications for matches scheduled on the same day are possible for some group matches. Now, what made that possible was the fact that in Qatar, the distances between the stadiums were short. So, as I heard one Irish fan that I met there in Doha, this was the only World Cup where I could feasibly see every round of 16 match, which is insane. Of course, here for 2026, that is not going to be the case. So, if FIFA recognizes, well, not even if they recognize, they probably are going to put in place some sort of filter where if you're buying a ticket, let's say on a game day where it has New York and LA happening on the same day, they're probably not going to let you have one of those 2 tickets because it's geographically impossible for you to go from New York to LA on time for these matches. Down here in the bottom, it says to be considered as compatible, there must be more than 4-hour window between the kickoff of the 2 matches. Maybe they might let you have a ticket, say, if a game is happening between Philadelphia and New York, but not having the schedule in front of me, that's probably not even going to happen either. So more than likely, you're also going to be restricted as to the types of tickets. Again, this is done to prevent the scalping of these tickets, as they'll be able to recognize, come on, dude, you're not going to be able to make that New York to LAX flight on time whatsoever. Okay. Can I apply for tickets for more than one match per day? Again, this is going to be a variable. We don't know what's going to happen for 2026. We're probably going to follow these same rules of geography. And again, when you look at the schedule, you're going to be able to see, yeah, I'm not going to be able to make it from this game to that game to that game. We also don't know the kickoff times for these matches, which I think is also quite important. There could be games in the morning. There could be games late in the evening hours in order to avoid the summer heat of the afternoon, unless, of course, those matches are happening in a dome stadium, which would be a very reasonable way to host these games without having the effects of climate, affect the quality of the play on the pitch, of course. And then that's pretty much it. I mean, these two other questions aren't really that important here to consider. But again, the important thing is, okay, is this aspect of how many tickets can you buy per household, and the fact that more than likely there's going to be a name attached to those tickets. Again, it prevents you from hoarding all these tickets and then being able to sell them on the secondary market. FIFA is going to put every single parameter possible to prevent that from happening, because at the end of the day, they want all of the money. All right, so that was the ticket buying process for the 2022 Qatar World Cup. All right, there's going to be a lot of differences from that tournament to the one coming up in 2026. The fact that we're having 48 teams competing, the fact of the geographic distances might make buying tickets physically a little bit more difficult, or maybe it won't. The fact that I predict a passport is going to be needed is going to be a pain for American fans, especially, and even Canadian fans. If again, for those of you that live in Canada, if you do not have a national ID that's not the passport, you're probably gonna have to go through these same pains. I think in Mexico they do have a national ID that doesn't have to be their passport. In either case, that is going to be a very big point that we have to wait and see for. What is FIFA going to decide? Are they going to demand the passports from everybody, including American citizens, or I should say citizens of the host countries, or are they going to allow driver's licenses to be used as the form of identification for the purchase of the tickets? But I think that's the main thing that all of the fans of the host countries have to understand. An ID, passport, or maybe something else that FIFA will tell us is going to be required for all of these tickets. Every person's gonna need to be able to provide that ID information online when they're buying the tickets, and on the app it'll show like, yes, this ticket belongs to this person, and that's about it. You won't have to bring your passport with you to the stadium, but you will probably have to bring the whatever equivalent of the Haya card will be for 2026. Okay, it is going to be a very different ticketing experience for fans of the host countries than anything they have hosted before. I'm not even sure how it was in 1994, to be completely honest. For those of you that went to the 1994 World Cup, let me know in the comments how that process was. Uh, but again, that tournament was also 24 teams. So we're dealing with double the teams, double the fans coming to these three countries. It is going to be, again, the largest soccer tournament in history. All right. So, of course, that's going to require a level of security, at least on FIFA's part, to ensure that they keep their ticket sales in house as much as possible. All right, mi gente, thank you so much for watching today's episode. I really, really appreciate it. Make sure that you like the video so it helps the algorithm. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I do aim to create more long form YouTube videos on these types of specific topics regarding tickets, traveling the World Cup, because that's pretty much my bread and butter, anything with money management, those types of topics. I am looking forward to talk more about those in depth when it comes to its relationship with the 2026 World Cup. Please also make sure you share the video to your friends and family. Get them all subscribed, because this idea of gatekeeping this information doesn't make any sense. This is the biggest tournament in sports history. Everyone's going to know what the 2026 FIFA World Cup is going to be all about. And the time is now to prepare ourselves for that tournament. We have less than 2 years to go until the tournament starts. But more than likely, we have less than 1 year until tickets will go on sale for the World Cup. And so the time is now to prepare. Thank you so much, mi gente. Hasta la próxima. Ahí nos vemos.